All right. Hello, this is Wmpyr. Once again, still right smack in the middle of getting ready to move, but I wanted to squeeze in this video for you guys. Once again done in a radio style, so or should we say podcast style. Um, Man, and I've seen some recent videos where wow, people are just acting like drama queens, extremely rude. Um, yeah, just horrible attitudes. And these are, longtime martial arts instructors. It makes me sad and uh, seriously ashamed to be part of that, And um, it's sad. Okay, so real quick, I want to tell you guys. Be careful of people like that. I don't care how good their materials are, how cool and logical it seems what they're teaching you, and how much it makes sense and how good it is. If you see someone teaching that way that has very, very harsh opinions and pretty much where they're like, my opinion equals facts, and I'm stating fact, and your opinions are wrong. If they have this kind of attitude, go the other direction. It's much better. And if you really want to learn their style, learn it from one of their students that's cool. Don't learn it from them. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. So just be careful of people like that. That's not someone you should be around, and because their material is good, your brain is going to think that they're good, and they're not. They're horrible. So, all right. So let me cut to the chase here. Today, I want to talk to you guys about grinding. Grinding is the first time I encountered this was when I saw, I believe, UFC 3. I think I may have known about it before that, but when I really got to see it just like firsthand, was UFC 3, and it wasn't even one of the matches. It was Ken Shamrock demonstrating. Um, I guess he was just showcasing his training or something like that. So he was with a partner, and he was demonstrating some moves, and he was on top, cross body position, and it looked like he was trying to get a Kimura arm lock. And the other guy, obviously is a grappler too, so they know what's up. And so Ken Shamrock is putting his elbow onto the guy's right where the shoulder meets the chest. There's a sensitive nerve cluster area right there. And Ken Shamrock is digging his elbow in, and that is grinding. And I saw that, and I immediately understood that he's doing that to create an opening. So he's not grinding to finish the guy, he's grinding to cause distraction and pain, so then he can get the Kimura arm lock. So it's a brilliant tactic, and my understanding is the catch wrestlers like Ken Shamrock, they specialize in that. They use a lot of very aggressive ways to wear you down and distract you and create openings so that they can finish you with something else. So it made perfect sense to me, and I was amazed. Later, um, later when I was in college, I was in the Vale Tudo team. So here in Texas, and Vale Tudo is just basically MMA from Brazil, and it's MMA before MMA. So here in the U.S., they were calling it free fighting, or they were calling it NHB, no holds barred fighting. And some people, they understood that it came from Brazil, so they called it Vale Tudo because that's what it was called over there. And so I was part of the Vale Tudo team, and at this school. And man, there was this one dude. He would grind. I mean, he would grind like crazy. That was one of the things that he did. and he was just a brutal, violent type of person. His personality was like that. And he thought nothing of it. He was just trying to win. So he didn't know the difference between training and fighting. To him is pretty much the same thing, you know. And yeah, that's how he sparred. Very, very rough. And in his mind, he was probably going, no, I know the difference, and I'm taking it easy on you because I'm not biting you, I'm not eye gouging you, I'm not spitting on you, I'm not clawing you, so then it's okay. Grinding is okay, you know? I think that's the way he saw it. And man, there were times where I felt like the skin on my face was being ripped open because this dude is grinding on me with his rough gi, the kimono. And yeah, I mean, I was just like, I was going home, with my skin raw on my face, with some blood and all that. And that was just a normal day of training with that dude, one of my classmates. And one day, this guy, that a lot of people didn't like him because that's how he was. He's so intense and he'd do anything to win type of guy. And yeah, he one day he doesn't show up. See, it's the guy like that has great attendance. but this one day he didn't show up. The instructor said, "What do you guys want to do today?" And this one guy, I remember my friend, he said, "What do you do against grinding? What are we supposed to do against that?" And then I was like, I and a bunch of other guys were like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. How do you deal with that? How do you defend against that? What do you do?" And we all knew we were all talking about that one guy. And the instructor even like, "Oh, are you talking about that guy?" And we were all like, "Yes, he grinds like crazy. What do we do?" And the instructor says, "He grinds, you grind him back." That was the instructor's mentality. So that day he put a grinding clinic on us, the instructor. And I tell you, I literally screamed in class at the top of my lungs. I screamed because it was so painful. Yeah, and so I would have rather have gotten tapped out multiple times, but no, the instructor decided to show me, what real grinding is like. And like I said, uh, that was brutal, brutal. Anyway, why is all this important? Okay, so this is important once again because in a street situation, right? I believe that grinding is an excellent tactic, and I started to use it not just on the ground but also standing. That it was effective both ways, right? On the ground, but also in the clinch where you're standing up. I never really seen people use it in the clinch. I've seen it for sure on the ground, but not so much in the clinch. And it is harder to do in the clinch because, unless they're up against the wall or something, they could back up. And if they back up, then you have nothing, right? So pinned on the ground, it's easy to grind someone or easier to grind someone. But standing, it makes it a little difficult. Anyway, what I want to say here is that the tactic that Ken Shamrock showed was brilliant. It was a brilliant tactic where, he putting the elbow and grinding it onto a sensitive spot so that even though this arm lock is coming, you're so distracted from the pain that you're going to give an opening and then he can arm lock you. And even though you knew it was coming, you knew that he was going for it, there was nothing you could do because of the grinding, right? That's a brilliant tactic, but in real life, in a real life self-defense situation, we don't have the luxury to finish the opponent, is what I'm thinking. You don't have it in terms of time. So like a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy can go up against someone, even someone that's bigger and stronger than them, but they could wear them down using technique, skill, and position. So they'll hold a position, and the other person's trying their best to get out of it, wasting a ton of energy, and the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu person can wear them down. Grinding is kind of similar, where you're wearing the person down with pain and distractions, and to create openings. So it's similar in that sense, but obviously the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu way can take longer, right? But both ways can take longer in a fight. Like, you need that time to do that in order to set up for the finish. And you have to wear down the opponent, or you have to distract them enough, cause enough pain that the opening is there. That takes time, right? And we don't have the luxury of that kind of time necessarily in the street. In sport, it can turn into a bout of attrition. You could be there locked with the opponent for 30 minutes straight. That could happen. In the street, you might be there for 30 minutes, but locked in with the opponent for 30 minutes the whole time? Probably not. Probably not. So it's just different circumstance. So in the street, that is not what's happening. Like I said, I don't have the luxury to finish the opponent. The opponent just might be way too strong for me to apply a finishing hold in the first place. There are guys that are way too strong, way too big, that I cannot. I could land an uppercut full force, and if it was my same weight class, maybe I could knock the guy out. But this dude, I just can't. Or this dude, I could put him in a rear naked choke, and I just cannot. He's just too strong. And that is a reality. I've met guys like that, and they weren't like 7'8" or something like that, 580 pounds, Andre the Giant. They weren't even that big, and I had trouble. So this is just a reality. So against someone like that, and that's what I'm assuming that I'm going to encounter on the street, where I don't have the luxury to finish, then I'm not grinding to create an opening to finish them. That's not my goal. And why am I grinding? I am grinding them to get them off track. So they have a purpose. Maybe they're trying to finish me, or maybe they're trying to really, really, really hurt me, or just dominate me. Well, all of those things, I could distract them from that with grinding. So then my purpose for grinding is as a distraction. It is a neutralization. People tell me, like, if I do the Heaven 6, and if you guys have seen, you've probably seen my YouTube channel, then you've seen the Heaven 6, as I do it a lot in a lot of my videos. But people go, that's very distracting. That's an excellent distract. To me, that's not distracting. If someone sees that and they're distracted by that, then that's awesome. But I'm not expecting. This to me is really actively distracting somebody. So grinding is something that I will consider a true distraction technique. Whereas for Heaven 6, if the guy has some balls, he's not going to be distracted by that. He's going to see me do that and go, oh, it's just speed, no power, I don't care. And that's the kind of guy I'm really worried about. So that's why I don't consider Heaven 6 or anything that's, that I do that's quick and rapid. I don't even consider that as a distracting type of move, So anyway, in this case with grinding, I'm using it as annoyance. It is 100% for annoyance. It is far from a finisher. That's not my goal. Grinding itself, we don't see it as a finisher. Even grapplers don't see it as a finisher, although I told you I was screaming in pain. I was finished from it. But unless there's a big size difference, in that case there was a huge size difference. But unless there's a big size difference, it's very hard to do. Now, there are some, I've seen reality-based self-defense instructors teaching very offensive techniques, which I told you I'm not on board with that, because I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, but I'm saying that in a street situation, it's about survival for me. So they can have their own path. Good luck in them. I'm not here to criticize them. I'm just saying that for me in my path, I'm about survival and not about finishing and dominating and destroying my opponent, which, I get it. It sounds awesome and it must, you feel like it feels good to do that. But, I've been able to detach myself from that and go, look, the situation's horrible. I'm lucky enough just to survive. So let's just survive. That's the view that I have. And I feel like if I am capable of finishing somebody, even then I shouldn't be. I really shouldn't be. So it's to me a very, very, very rare situation where I need to finish someone in the street. Very rare. And that's if I can even do it. So that's why I'm headed towards just survival, right? Neutralization, survival, de-escalation, and escape. You know, um, so in that, really, my goal is not to try to destroy or finish someone with grinding. And like I said, I've seen some of those people teaching reality-based self-defense, that kind of stuff, and they're teaching hyper extreme aggressive stuff. And yeah, they're using similar, what I would categorize as grinding, but ultra aggressively, where they are there to rip your face apart. That's what they're doing. Well, I'm here to say 100% that is not what I'm doing here, and I call it the cheese grater. And my technique, the cheese grater, is, once again, I have grappling background. um, I'm not amazing at grappling, but I do have a grappling background, and I can tell you that in it is it was never meant to be to finish somebody. Even while I was grappling and using it to set up a finish, it was to set up a finish and not the grinding itself to finish someone. And then here I'm telling you guys that it is for annoyance. Okay, it is for. There's only one technique that I have that would cross the line, and it would be capable of finishing, and that is what I call the hacksaw. And that's specific. It's a very specific technique. It's done on the ground. It's possible to do it in the clinch. It's very difficult because they need to be up against the wall. But um, on the ground, you basically use your forearms and you hacksaw their neck, and it's a choke. It's a choke, but it makes that choke. Oh my goodness, it's devastating. And if you do it with a knife, well, you're gonna decapitate somebody. So it's brutal, brutal technique. But anyway, 9 times out of 10, or probably you'll never ever be in a situation to be using the hacksaw. Uh, you'll be using the cheese grater, is what I'm telling you. And the cheese grater distracts them, so it stops them from attacking you. It neutralizes their attacks. It throws them off course. And then at the same time, you could be talking to them saying, hey, I'm not your enemy. What are we doing here? This doesn't make sense, kind of thing. Let me buy you a beer or whatever. You could be doing that kind of thing, right? If it's a criminal attacking you, where it's a much worse case, because just now I had a guy at a gas station give me a hate stare. And I don't know if it was because I was Asian or if it was because I was wearing a mask, but either way, he was being incredibly intolerant and judgmental and hateful, and he just saw that I'm different from him, and therefore, just giving me a hate stare. I mean, it's really sad. And against someone like that, yeah, I'm definitely not going to try to finish someone like that just because they're confused. But he was big enough, strong looking enough that he could really hurt me. And it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. But yeah, I am not going to terminate someone for that. Let's get our ground straight here, okay? So yes, it can be a self-defense situation. I will do my best not to provoke the guy. I was surprised at how aggressively he was looking at me, and I made the mistake of making eye contact back, and I was like, what is he looking at? And I was like, oh, he's looking at me. Oh, it's a hate stare. Oh, what's his problem? And so anyway, but I was just trying to figure out what was going on, and but luckily nothing happened, and that's the idea. If he started going like, "What are you looking at?" He'd be like, "Whoa, whoa!" I would have just been like, "Hey, sorry, nothing," minding my own business here, kind of thing. And if that makes me look weak and submissive, I don't care, because I know that has nothing to do with can I fight him if I needed to. Warrior to warrior, am I less of a warrior? It has nothing to do with that, and I do not feel threatened in any way in those regards, in a warrior aspect, So I just see him honestly as not worth it. but yeah. So even in a situation where a guy is really trying to like kill me, right? Like he's a criminal or I don't know, he's just insane, wants to kill me. Grinding can be extremely useful in that because it's going to throw them off course. It's going to they at during that moment, I'm making it difficult for them to do whatever the heck it is they're trying to do to me, which is great harm. And if they're big enough that they can pick me up and slam me unconscious, they could bounce my head off the concrete. They're that strong, right? By grinding, I'm creating space. And if I create space, look, I weigh 150, which is nothing. But even if the guy's super strong, ask him to curl 150 from a distance. Not bring it close to his body and curl it. I mean, try curling a weight with your arm extended out. Is very difficult. And I'm moving around. I'm not a simple weight where, all the mass is concentrated together. No, I am fluid and dynamic. So, that's going to make it harder for him, even though 150 is nothing. That's not very heavy. Um, so once again, grinding can really, really help in those regards to shut down any horrible attacks that this guy is trying to do to me. Okay. And another thing I've said to you guys before is watch a UFC fighter. Oh man, Max Holloway. Yeah, that's his name. Hawaiian UFC fighter. He basically does the same thing as grinding, because grinding you can't always hit them on you're not hitting them, but placing your forearm, your hands on their face. So it could miss and it could go to the neck and it could go to the sternum and the upper chest area. And that grinding, once again, you're doing it, create space. He uses that brilliantly. He uses that to kill their takedown attempts. So watch Max Holloway, watch his fights, and you'll see that's how he likes the stand-up game. And if the other guy's a better grappler or a really good grappler, that's what he does. And the other guy has extreme trouble taking him down. So grinding, excellent, excellent, excellent. So like I said, I call it the cheese grater, and I do it here. In the standing. So I've evolved the grinding and I combine it with my Filipino martial arts. So I'm using the angles of attack if it's one arm, and I'm using heaven six type double arm waving if I have the luxury of using both arms, and I will grind the hell out of the opponent. And honestly, to bystanders, it just looks like I'm trying to get away. And really, that's my purpose. I'm just trying to get away. So legally, I'm good too, and I'm not trying to pluck out their eyes or nothing like that. Although it might be on their eyes, it's still I'm just grinding. Okay, I'm just putting a lot of undeniable pressure and pain onto their face, neck, sternum area. So that's it for now. Take care, folks.